This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and it's that time of year again, ladies and gentlemen. The World Government Summit just took place in Dubai. In case you didn't know, this is a two-day annual event. So today we're going to take a look at just exactly what they're talking about at this summit. We're going to look at this World Government Summit 2022 trailer that they released titled Shaping Future Governments, and they really don't hide it. As you can see here, they just blatantly say it. Our world will be shaped by us. We're also going to listen to what Klaus Schwab, he is the founder of the World Economic Forum, what he has to say in his virtual address to the World Government Summit. And spoiler alert, guys, he's saying things are going to get a lot worse and that the only solution to our global problems is going to be a global government. Meanwhile, his little protege and puppet Justin Trudeau is echoing the same things right now. Trudeau is warning of difficult times to come. He says food shortages are coming due to the COVID-19 84 pandemic. As we see here, Fauci is even saying Americans should be prepared for the possibility of more COVID-19 84 restrictions. He says there's a need to be prepared for the possibility of an uptick in COVID-19 84 cases, which may lead to further restrictions. And indeed, in British Columbia, a lot of paranoid people are already preparing for the possibility. As we see here, mask mandates may be lifted, but now is not the time to take them off, experts say. And it's like, what? Of course, once the mandate is lifted is precisely the time that you should be taking them off. But in fact, you shouldn't even be wearing them in the first place, ladies and gentlemen, because everything you've been told about that and many more things in this COVID-19 84 nightmare has been a complete lie. Sometimes it's important that we reiterate this and show you exactly how this works. I want you to see this. This was the director of the CDC 1 year ago stating on television that you don't get the virus once you have the vaccine. Listen to this.
Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real-world data.
Real-world data, clinical trials, vaccinated people don't get the virus. How did we go from that to fast forward just 1 year, and now we're seeing things like this? 100% vaccinated cruise ship has just been hit with the COVID-19 84 outbreak. The cruise operators require passengers and crew members to be fully vaccinated for COVID-19 84. Passengers even have to show a negative COVID-19 84 test and proof that they are vaccinated before boarding, and yet we still have a 100% vaccinated cruise ship now coming down with the COVID outbreak. This is lunacy. This is crazy that people don't see this for what it is. And in fact, as a Canadian, I still can't get on a boat or a train or an airplane, even to travel domestically. As we see here, guys, COVID-19 84 restrictions are lifting, but unvaccinated Canadians still can't board planes or trains. It's absolutely ludicrous, and that's probably why people are now showing up to welcome Justin Trudeau with the welcoming he deserves, showing their absolute displeasure and rage with his draconian policies over the last couple of years. So we're going to look at all of that, guys, and much, much more in this video. But before we do, I'd ask that you check me out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate if you appreciate my efforts to bring you this information. Here, you can do a one-time donation with PayPal by clicking on that banner. If you're in the Bitcoin space, you can contribute some Bitcoin by clicking on that banner there. I also take other cryptocurrencies. You can click on there to check out those. You can also join me at Subscribestar, which is much better than Patreon, which I was recently kicked off of. You can also sign up for a monthly reoccurring contribution by clicking right here. That way it goes directly to me. I also accept e-transfers, and that can be sent to dan@pressfortruth.ca. It's a great way to go, especially if you're Canadian. Or if you like to keep things old school, I also accept cash or checks or equipment or simply just words of encouragement. All of that can be sent to my P.O. box. Once again, links for all of this are located in the description below. Thank you so much to everybody who does contribute to my efforts to bring you this information. All right, let's break this one down for you guys. Again, this is the World Government Summit that is held every year in Dubai. And just listen to the intro of day one. This will give us a pretty good idea of what the whole premise is for the following 2 days. Listen to this.
Highnesses, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a very, very good morning on what is the first official day of World Government Summit here at Dubai Expo 2020. And the title of this session, are we ready for a new world order?
Quite the title, right off the bat. You know, are we ready for a new world order? Not really hiding it anymore. You know, just kind of being pretty out with it and blatant with it. And I recall, you know, it was around maybe 10 years ago or so, I used to notice that if you type in New World Order into a Google search, you would get, you know, a proper result explaining essentially this plan for the reshaping of society through the means of order out of chaos. Well, that changed. If you type in New World Order today, you're now going to get two results. There's the New World Order, the conspiracy theory, and then the New World Order, what it really means that they're trying to say is just that, you know, when all these leaders mention a New World Order, they're not talking about what the conspiracy theorists think about, you know, global government and all that stuff. You know, they're just talking about making the world a better place. Well, now they're literally talking about the New World Order at the World Government Summit. I mean, it's wow, it's pretty wild. But anyways, let's continue.
Well, the organizers here are nothing if not ambitious. This is, I think you will agree, a daunting subject for discussion at just after 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning here in the relative calm of Expo 2020. But tackle it we must, because I believe what is clear is that we have hit an inflection point. We are certainly living in a unique age of uncertainty and volatility in global affairs. Whether you are from the global north or the global south, we have all collectively lived through the twilight zone that was the pandemic and the changes to our social, our digital, and our fiscal landscape that COVID-19 wrought.
All engineered by these
psychos. Just as the world re-emerges from the pandemic, we are faced with the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which certainly feels like a transformative geopolitical moment. Coming as that does, against a backdrop of great power struggles,
here's where she
the
really lays it
emergence
out.
of middle powers, of climate crisis, and cybersecurity challenges, the trend lines certainly seem to indicate a world headed in a disorderly direction. Is the US-led multilateral system created post-World War II to manage international relations so that the world would never again see and experience the same chaos and disorder of a world war?
See, that was the first attempt at, out of the ashes of a world war, did they attempt to form this world government. And they tried it after the First World War, when they tried to institute the League of Nations, and the people didn't go for it. They didn't buy that. They were like, no, we don't want to unite like that. But then a second world war happened so closely after the first one, and that's when they suggested we need a United Nations. We have to come together in light of what happened. And then at that point, everybody's like, yes, too many world wars. Let's come together into the United Nations. And now what you're about to hear is she's about to challenge this whole system and say, is the U.S.-led based global recovery working, or is it time to shift into something different? Listen to this.
Is it anything like fit for purpose? And if not, what is the alternative? That is the purpose of this discussion today, so let's get on with it.
There it is. I mean, the purpose of the discussions is to figure out if this current world order isn't working, well, what's going to be the alternative? Essentially, who is going to come out on top? Well, let's watch this World Government Summit trailer where they're trying to entice people to come check out this event and just get a load of the openness as they basically just say flat out, we're going to shape the future. So what's shaping all these things? Our world, our progress. It's going to be shaped by technology, by curiosity, by agility. Our world will be shaped by intelligence, multilateralism, policies, empowerment. Yeah, okay. It's going to be shaped by innovation, by us. Boom, see the wink? Together. I just noticed that now. I didn't notice that before. As soon as they say the world's going to be shaped by us, one of the eye kind of winks at you there. Let's see that again. This is crazy. The world's going to be shaped by us. Wink. Together. Blink. World Government Summit. Join the conversation. All right. Again, there it is. They're not really hiding what they're doing. And Klaus Schwab doesn't hide it either in his address here. I don't know if we'll go through the whole thing. Maybe we will. It's only 4 minutes. But just listen to this creep basically warn that things are going to get a heck of a lot worse before they get better. And we're going to have to just submit to a global government if we're going to want to get out of this thing alive together. Listen to this.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to participate for the 8th time at this important meeting, even if only in a virtual way. I would like to express my high respect to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum for having taken the initiative for creating such an important global platform for governments shaping the future. I also want to congratulate Dubai for having organized such a successful World Expo, despite all the repercussions of the global pandemic.
I can't help but think back to, over a decade ago of, people relentlessly calling me a conspiracy theory for even suggesting that governments would work together to form a global world government. And now there's quite literally, we have the leader of the World Economic Forum addressing the World Government Summit, saying everything openly and blatantly as I was warning about over a decade ago. And now it's just, it's just accepted. Yeah, New World Order is what we need, right, guys?
Last November, in partnership with His Excellency Mohammed Al-Gargawi, we brought together 60 top intellectual thinkers here in Dubai. Thank you to His Excellency for enabling this initiative to define a longer-term narrative to make the world more resilient, more inclusive, and more sustainable. With all the current issues on our agenda, we tend to forget that we are in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution, which accelerates global change in much more comprehensive and faster ways than the previous 3 revolutions. I'm proud that the government of Dubai has been so foresighted in establishing a Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in cooperation with the World Economic Forum. The objective is to quickly recognize the potential of new technologies, as well as develop the necessary ethical and political frameworks around those new technologies to ensure that those technologies are human-centered.
May I remind you,
society-oriented.
mRNA vaccines
the world has
are
to overcome
new technology.
Not only the damage done to our economies and our societies by COVID-19, it also has to confront the repercussions of a dangerous clash between major global powers. History is truly at a turning point. We do not yet know the full extent and the systemic and structural changes which will happen. However, we do know that global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected.
Global systems.
In times of crisis,
everything is going to be deeply
the role of governments is more important and more relevant.
In times of crisis, the role of government is more important and more relevant. And this is precisely why they operate out of their modus operandi, which is order out of chaos.
Than ever. What is also needed is a summit like this one to go beyond crisis management and to look into constructive ways we can build our common future. Our futures are intrinsically connected to one another as the profound challenges to mankind, such as climate change, are globally interconnected and require collaborative responses.
Global problems require global solutions, right?
In conclusion, and despite all the challenges, we have to uphold our responsibility, which we have towards the next generation.
You and your...
And which we can only fulfill through
elite
collaboration on a national and on a global level. I wish you an impactful and successful meeting.
This is some of the creepiest stuff I've seen. I mean, this is like straight out of a sci-fi movie or something, or a futuristic dystopian nightmare film. But this is reality. This is where we are. And as I said, his little puppet right now is going around echoing the same things, just saying, you know, things are going to get bad, everybody. And, you know, if Klaus Schwab is saying we're going to need a world government to get out of it, you can bet the bank on the fact that Justin Trudeau is going to say the exact same thing. As we see here, Trudeau warns of difficult time and food shortages due to COVID-19. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is warning of impeding tough times, including food shortages, placing blame on the COVID-19 84 pandemic and Russia's special military option in Ukraine. What? Okay, let's just continue. We've seen disruptions of supply chains around the world, which is resulting in higher prices for consumers in democracies like ours, and resulting in significant shortages and projected shortages of food and energy in places around the world. This is going to be a difficult time of year because of the war, because of the recovery from the pandemic. No, it's because of the restrictions that Justin put on society. You know, 2 years ago, I was saying that the economic ramifications of the lockdown measures that were happening at the time, I was saying back then, are not going to be felt for a couple of years. It's going to take until we really truly feel the ramifications of this. And now we're starting to feel it as a result of the strict restrictions. And they're trying to suggest that it's because of Russia and the war with Ukraine, and also COVID-19, which is, you know, not even a serious thing whatsoever. It just is in the minds of the masses. And now we have Fauci saying, get ready for all of this to come back. He says, I don't want to use the word lockdowns. That has a charged element to it. But I believe that we must keep our eye out on the pattern that we're seeing with infections. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention said that currently the BA2 Omicron subvariant that is spreading make up 54% of cases. Meanwhile, data from the CDC revealed that just over 9,600 new cases were reported Sunday. Isn't it interesting how they already have the PCR tests to be able to do this testing with the new variants? And really, people just need to stop getting tested if they want to, stop contracting the virus, because we know the PCR tests can't be trusted whatsoever because they run at super high cycles. And I mean, look at this. We saw that, you know, these people, they had to be vaccinated to get on. They had to show a negative test to get on. So all of a sudden, there's a huge outbreak on the ship. The only way that they could know that is if they're continually testing people. And that's how this, you know, that's how this works. But yeah, let's get back to this. Mask mandates are lifted, but experts are saying there's no reason to take them off. This is just crazy. With restrictions lifted across Canada as the 6th COVID-19 84 wave hits parts of the country, individual responsibility and personal choice appear to be the default public health measure. Yeah. Imagine that, personal responsibility and personal choice, leaving some asking, when is it going to be safe to stop wearing masks? They go on. This is a long article, guys. What do the numbers say? They also suggest that there's not enough testing going around, and that there's not enough access to the tests, which is nonsense. You can get them for free from anywhere now. They're handing them out for free in grocery stores. I've had people try to push these things on me multiple times now. And, the fact of the matter is I've never been vaccinated for any of these COVID-19 84 nightmare vaccines. I've never been tested, and I certainly never will. I drew the line at put a mask on. And that's that. This is the hill that I'm gonna die on. And I drew that line in the sand a long time ago, and I wish other people would have done the same. But here we are. Now COVID restrictions are being lifted, but the unvaccinated, like myself, are still unable to travel even domestically by boarding a train or a boat or an airplane. Because she's unvaccinated against COVID-19 84. Tamika McIntosh of Brampton, Ontario, wasn't allowed to board a plane to fly to Jamaica last month to attend her grandfather's funeral. It's just awful, and we've heard so many stories like that. I don't think it's fair, said McIntosh. I don't have mobility rights. I'm stuck in a country, and I can't leave. I just feel like I should have the right to choose. Provinces are dropping the vaccine mandates, but we still can't fly. Global 19 resurgence could delay the plan. Yeah, that's what I've been warning about. And they still admit that many who are vaccinated still get COVID-19, experts say. Some medical professionals say it's time for Canada to rethink its vaccine mandates for travelers. Infectious disease physician Dr. Zane Changla points out that many people who got vaccinated also get COVID-19. Knowing that 2 doses of vaccines likely doesn't prevent a lot of transmission, it really does start poking holes in the fact that this mandate is meant to prevent transmission. Yeah, there's a lot of holes in this thing, guys. This entire thing is just so ridiculous. And, the fact that we still can't travel domestically within our own country, guys, just to go to show you just how not free we are in Canada. But you know what? Freedom is something that you should take the responsibility on individually to maintain. And there are certainly a lot of ways you can do that, even within the midst of the COVID-19 84 nightmare. Guys, if you want true freedom, first of all, financial freedom is key. If you are in any kind of debt, if you have a mortgage or a line of credit or credit cards, this is the way in which they can squeeze their bony little fingers around your neck at any time they want by simply raising interest rates. There's a number of ways to go at you in that way. So getting out of debt is key. Now, that's easier said than done for most people because it may require that you lower your standards of living, for example, so that you can actually own something outright. But I would rather own my own little shack than have this big, cozy mansion that I am, indebted to the bank for. So that's what you need to focus on moving forward, but also probably just as equally as important is starting to get that sustainable lifestyle where you're no longer dependent not just on the governments or the banks, but quite literally not dependent on the grocery stores as well. And that too is sometimes sounds easier said than done because it requires a great bit of skill. It requires there's a certain amount of knowledge that goes into being able to have a self-sustaining garden that you can live off of and feed your family with. But these are the kinds of things we need to focus on moving forward if we do want to take that individual responsibility of having our freedoms in our own hands. And I think that's the thing that truly scares the power elite. That's what scares the government the most, is a strong, independent populace who is no longer dependent on the government for anything. That's why Justin Trudeau praises movements like Black Lives Matter that, or the trans rights movements that just beg the government to just do things for them, to fix things for them, whereas he dislikes the trucker movement because the trucker movement's saying the opposite, saying just leave us alone, like stay out of our business and let us govern ourselves. This is the difference here, guys. I want to encourage you to become an enemy of the state. Do not be reliant on the banks. Do not be reliant on the governments, and become that self-sustainable enemy of the state who can function without the need for any kind of a loan or any kind of help from the government whatsoever. It's a tall order, It's a lot to do. I'm in the midst of working on it myself, guys. But this is what I wanted to share with you today. You know, we're in a crazy time where the World Government Summit is going on. You know, we're being blatantly lied to by our so-called health officials, where, you know, a year later we see that it's clearly we're being lied to, or at the very least misled. So the time to take our freedoms into our own hands is now, guys. If you agree, please click that thumbs up button. Don't forget to share these videos with your friends and family who need to see it the most. And don't forget to check me out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate. Once again, if you do appreciate my efforts to bring you this information. All right, guys, that is all for today. I want to thank you once again so much for continuing to watch. Stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.